What? No general speech? What a ripoff. YouTube, welcome to Game 3 of the finals. These tournament battles that I've been showing. I actually honestly forgot the name of the tournament when I came in here. I'll put the name of it in the description. Appreciate this being submitted. The two players here are Greek Iraklis and Hamilcar Barca. And for Game 3, the players do stand 1-1. I won't tell you who won which of the first two battles, but I guess it is a bit of a giveaway if you haven't watched those. But what are you doing watching Battle 3? If you haven't watched Battle 1, go back, folks. Come on. Go check it out. So in any case, let's check it out. So it is Pontus again for Hamilcar Barca. So he's the Pontic player. And then over here, Greek Iraklis is also going to play Syracuse again. So both players repeating a previous faction here, which I suppose must have been in line with tournament rules, obviously, or else they wouldn't be doing it. There are 3 mercenary Scythian horse archers for Pontus, along with 4 Eastern slingers up front, and then the very back, 2 Pontic peltists. These guys are heavy javelins, do a ton of damage with their missile weapons. They're not great in a secondary melee function, but they're okay. They're not great. Let's see the cavalry. For the Pontic player, there's going to be 3 Cappadocian cavalry, and then 2 Pontic Royal cavalry, one of which is the general, and then the specialty unit here, which is this scythe chariot, which is a heavy infantry killer, for sure. Best taken out by javelins or by heavy shot cavalry would be some of the better ways to get rid of that stuff. And so for the Syracuse, we've got up front 4 slingers to help stand off. Slingers can be good against horse archers, but remember, they got to deal with 4 Eastern slingers, which are better than these Greek slingers in terms of stats. These are not Rhodian slingers. There are 2 Tarentine cavalry, which are javelin cavalry. May be able to help fend off the Scythian horse, but they are outranged, and the Scythian horse will be able to keep their distance, as Tarentine cavalry is medium, and Scythian horse is light missile cavalry, so it'll be faster. And then the main infantry line for Syracuse, definitely superior to the infantry you're going to see from Pontus. It's a mix of medium and heavy hoplites. So the heavier hoplites are actually on the flanks. Interesting positioning for them. And then for the Syracusan cavalry, there are 3 mercenary Italian cavalry and 1 Hippeus lancer, which is a very heavy shot cavalry, which will be similar to a Pontic Royal cavalry. So let's see how this plays out. We've had 2 very good battles so far. Should be another. The infantry for Pontus, by the way, is a mix. It's mostly naked swords. There's 1 Celtic warrior in the center, but 4 naked swords. So extremely weak infantry for Pontus, but high charge infantry. So Pontus is not going to win this fight through force of arms in an infantry battle. They're going to have to win it with their skirmishers, cavalry, and the chariots. And if they cannot put those units to work, then Syracuse will walk away from this, most likely handily. So Pontus is going to have to be have to make very good use of its forces here, or else the heavy infantry of Syracuse will walk away with this. So keep the slingers safe, keep the cavalry safe, and be patient with the scythe chariots. I think it's going to be the key for Pontus, and for Syracuse it's going to be force a mistake with the chariots and get the cavalry into an unfavorable engagement while overwhelming the infantry, and then potentially deal with the slingers later. Syracuse should be very careful to keep some mobility alive so that they have something to try and chase down slingers with potentially in a late game. You can see here that they're going to try and do some harassing of the Cappadocian cavalry. Not a bad target for those javelins. The mercenary naked sword is going to try and get charges. These Etruscan hoplites are pretty potent. They're going to get a charge from the heavy cavalry as well. Same thing here, heavy cavalry combining with naked swords to be both shock infantry and cavalry hitting at once. You can see that the battlefield is going to be broken up a little bit here, as Syracuse actually doubling up in certain areas, maybe trying to overwhelm pockets. Here the Tarentine cavalry gets a sneaky little charge in on the Scythian horse archers, and the fact that they're a medium cavalry here is going to pay dividends as they get a very clutch kill there. So what a play by Greek Iraklis and his Syracuse. Here he's going to retreat his Hippeus from the Cappadocians, and I don't blame him. It's an engagement that he wants to be careful with. He's going to try and use these thorax hoplites and his slingers. I don't know if he'll turn around and take that or not. He's going to have to. But engaging that heavy cavalry with his Hippeus lancers without support would be suicidal. But he does have the thorax hoplites trying to get engaged there. There's more Pontic Royal Cavalry nearby, and a scythe chariot now making a run for it because the heavy cavalry is tied down. And then you can see here the scythe chariot trying to get into the back of all this infantry. It's already racked up 55 kills. And I don't know that this medium melee cavalry will be enough to slow down the chariot. Ooh, it did. It did some damage. Those melee cavalry, I believe, have some anti-large bonus to them. Did some damage, but the chariot is going to plow through here and go all the way up to 100 kills. So the scythe chariot causing some intense damage. And here the Tarentine cavalry being put to work against the slingers. So this is good news for Syracuse if they wanted good news. You can see here that they're able to kite some of these heavy Cappadocian cavalry. The two mercenary Scythian horse archers being mismicroed right now by Hamilcar, not being put to use, as well as an eastern slinger to the far flank. These Tarentine cavalry now have to escape the Cappadocians, but they should be able to do so with their speed. They're just going to take a little damage because they got caught momentarily, and the Pontic cavalry back here is going to just give fits to the Syracusan cavalry. And as the Syracusan cavalry runs away, you can see the Pontic cavalry is going to come in, get some infantry charges on the Syracusan infantry that had not turned around. Scythe chariot still alive. It's got 135 kills, and there is a pretty juicy target right here in front of it if it can get to them. And it will. Oh, will it? Ooh, the Pontic Peltist killed a few of their own chariots, though. So that is a huge play for Syracuse by the Pontic Peltist. They themselves, though, have gotten a few kills. The chariots managed to get a few more, but that was an unfortunate bit of friendly fire. These Scythian horse archers, silent no longer, are going to come up here and fire into the backs of these veteran hoplites who are engaged with the naked swords. Engaged with the naked swords. Ooh, that just sounds wrong. Here comes the Pontic Royal Cavalry, going to run down some Greek slingers. Should be an easy task for them. And the Pontic player will be able to mop up all of the skirmishers for Syracuse at this point. And the Scythian horse archers ought to be able to whittle down any remaining cavalry for Syracuse, which is going to create an interesting late game here. So Pontus has a few naked swords and several skirmishers on this side of the map, and it's not likely that Syracuse can get to those skirmishers, but Pontus is dangerously short of infantry. And they've lost a decent bit of their cavalry as well, but there's some more back here that actually finally got a hold of those Tarentines. But they've taken gruesome damage in the process. I'm not sure that that's going to have been worth it. The Pontic Peltist are aiming for the Hippeus Lancers, and it's a brilliant target because I'm pretty sure they get bonus versus large with their javelins. So that was nicely done by the Pontic player. And then you can see here he's going to retreat. There are some Italian cavalry to help hunt him down. Ooh, a mistake here for sure. The Scythians caught into some thorax hoplites and being hunted down by some mercenary veterans over here. They should get away with minimal damage, but any losses there is also a loss of ammunition. If a horseman dies with his ammo, then they lose it. It's not like Rome 1. So these Pontic Peltists going to get into melee again. Not a bad unit in secondary melee when you're not up against heavy infantry, but they're up against heavy infantry and heavy cavalry, which means that they will be a squishy unit by comparison. They're going to get knocked out. So the Pontic Peltist going to be ousted from this fight. Let's see what that leaves us with if we take a survey of the battlefield here. These Cappadocians being brutalized by the Tarentine cavalry, but the Tarentine cavalry occasionally being caught here, it looks like, too. And way out here, the Pontic cavalry leaving these slingers alone because I guess they feel they're needed back here at the fight, and the slingers are far enough removed. And then over here, Eastern Slingers once again in a late game scenario. A few Pontic Peltist over here. I'm not sure. They may still have javelin ammo. They still got javelins in their hands. But Syracuse in trouble in the sense that they're going to have to sit here and take a brutal punishment. I don't know if these guys have heavy shot. Oh, they do. That's not good for Syracuse. If these horse archers have ammo left, it appears they do. They have heavy shot, which means that they can be patient, move up close, and heavy shot gives an extra armor-piercing value. They can get behind enemy lines and use their armor-piercing shot to devastating effect. The slingers also have a bit of armor-piercing value, Slings more so than arrows, I should say. So slingers have a lower overall damage, but with more armor piercing value. Looks like these slingers are out of ammo though, so they're going to become fodder. No, they're not out of ammo. They just did a feint charge and allowed the Pontic Royal Cavalry to get a charge here on the mercenary veterans, but that is going to be a difficult charge to handle. The Tarentine Cavalry coming in for a glory charge here, I guess. They get caught. Mercenary naked swords, and it looks like the Syracusan player didn't actually want that to happen. Ooh, look, he's going to get through here, try and get these slingers. And that is going to be pretty important for him to kill all of these slingers that he can. This might actually give Syracuse a chance, but look at this, a Pontic Royal Cavalry coming in. Ooh, gets a solid full speed charge. Going to cause some gruesome damage there. The mercenary Italians, and it's going to get away, obviously, because there's thorax hoplites there. And then look at this slinger that wasn't finished off for Syracuse, now back in the fight. And look at this, I did not think Syracuse had a viable way to get to these Eastern slingers, and they really shouldn't have, I don't think. But they have, and that's important. It's very important for them. They are just taking brutal charges here from the Pontic Royal Cavalry, though. And the mercenary naked swords are holding them, so they can't exactly retreat or form up here. So the Syracusan infantry is going to get savaged over there. And I do mean savage. We're talking about guys that came to battle without any clothes on. Yeah, and these Syracusan infantry are forced to turn their back to either the cavalry or the naked swords. That's not pretty. What a job, though, by these Tarentine Cavalry and the last few Hippeus Lancers to get rid of those slingers. That was clutch. There's still one more unit of Eastern slingers, and there's also these Scythian horse archers, who I believe are sitting on ammo. I have not seen them. Oh, they're firing a little. So they're firing a little. They definitely are still sitting on some ammo. The Pontic Royal Cavalry is starting to suffer some casualties here. The naked swords are surrounded. Just kind of see what's left here. Thorax Hoplite with 61, 31, 39, and 67, as well as 32 and a Tarentine Cavalry over here. Again, I have to wonder whether these are some kind of oddity in the replay or not. Nope, they're activated there. So the Tarentine Cavalry are going to try and get these mercenary Scythians. Oh! So they'll get a little bit of damage done here, but the Scythians get a shot off right before the charge. The Pontic Cavalry looking for charges, and I mean, they are going to be causing an extreme amount of damage to the health of these units, even if it doesn't immediately cause casualties. And I don't see how Syracuse digs them out of this, because how are they supposed to slow down that Pontic Cavalry? It can just charge them repeatedly, and yes, it will take damage, but I think the damage it's going to cause in the end is going to be more than the Syracusan infantry can handle. But who knows? There's a couple of Etruscan hoplites that are just sitting back over here. I have a hard time imagining that's on purpose with a player like Greek Iraklis, so definitely could be something up with the replay. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe he just keeping them over there or chatting or something. It's hard to say. Depends on how much ammo these horse archers have, honestly. I mean, there's definitely enough Pontic Cavalry to be dangerous. Yeah, these units are activated again. Ooh, flaming arrows. He's going for a morale knockout here. So the flaming arrows are going to drop the morale, and then he's going to come in and do a pincer charge with cavalry to see if he can break the morale of these hoplites. Let's see if the gambit pays off. There's more flaming arrows. Those flaming arrows also going to hit the Pontic units, but their morale is better to begin with. If this unit could swing around and get a rear charge here, it might actually work. It looks like it's going to work anyway. Got wavering on the Etruscan hoplites. And that is going to swing the game heavily into the favor of Pontus. And Hamilcar Barca is going to take himself home a tournament victory here against Greek Iraklis, but not without casualties along the way, as Iraklis played some tough battles through there. This was great. I really enjoyed this, and I have to say, I am really loving the multiplayer in this game without the spaghetti lines. It makes this very entertaining to watch, in my opinion. So really enjoyed watching Hamilcar and Greek Iraklis. Really appreciate this being submitted. Thank you to both players for providing some awesome Throwback Thursday entertainment. 3 battles, Throwback Thursday, 3 battles. Yeah, that's right. I try, folks. I try to keep you entertained, and I do hope you were entertained. Again, let's thank these players for the fun battles, please. And if you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe, hit the like button. There will be more, and I hope you enjoy your Throwback Thursday. Remember, I'm going to be live at 8:05 p.m. U.S. Central Time with some more Rome 2 action, where we're going to be streaming the Carthage campaign. And then next week for Throwback Thursday, I was thinking about, let's go back to something different for the battle. So if you have any Shogun 2 Total War replays, or some other older Total War, submit those to me, and I will take a look at them, and you might find yourself on Throwback Thursday like these awesome players here. So thank you again. Appreciate you all watching these. HeirofCarthage, signing out for now.